Coming to you from a studio somewhere out there. It's Enough Already Radio with Fingers Malloy and Tracy O'Connor.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to another Enough Already podcast. I'm Fingers. She's Tracy. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Fingers.
Tracy, we have a lot to talk about today.
That we do.
You had a lot of interesting things happen since we've last talked. We were on vacation last week. You went to a Libertarian Party meeting?
I did, indeed.
Give me the deets.
I believe an email went out to 20-something people, like, hey, let's get together at this bar on a Sunday afternoon, which I don't have any problem with.
Well, that should be a good draw right off the bat. It's at least, hey, we're not meeting in a side room at a library. We're meeting at a bar on a Sunday. Day drinking. Yeah.
I don't agree with Sunday afternoon meetings because it was a beautiful day and I'd rather be at the pool. But I sucked it up and I went.
Yeah.
A grand total of 5 people showed up.
Oh, jeez.
I'm counting myself. But it was quite interesting. So one of the gentlemen, who happens to be the chair of the party in my county, has managed to get himself a school board seat. So he's fighting there, which I appreciate.
Is he trying to drain the swamp?
Yes.
That's the school board. Okay.
Yes.
That's good.
No, he's trying to take money back away from them because they spend it frivolously, which I'm sure comes as a shock to no one.
Right.
But one of the other gentlemen that was there had just returned from the national convention.
Oh, and I got to know about this.
Yes, you do. Just so everybody knows, I just figured registering Libertarian makes me a member of the party, but no. I got to cough up. I think it's either $20 or $25.
Okay.
To become a member, and in which case I believe I can attend all of these conventions and such. So there's state conventions, national.
Do they take Bitcoin?
Checking. I would imagine so. Oh, hang on.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw you a curveball. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, now I'm all thrown off. Thanks, Fingers.
I'm sorry. Things just pop into my head and verbal diarrhea. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So he had returned from the convention, which I believe took place in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. And during this convention, they voted on all the chair position, the vice chair, treasurer, secretary, all that fun stuff. And there's been an internal battle that's been going on between people whom I consider to be the real libertarians, which are now represented by a caucus called the Mises Caucus.
Okay.
And then I don't know that these guys have a name, but the gentleman that's now currently the chair was a big supporter of our favorite Gary Johnson and Bill Weld ticket, which I know it prevented me from voting Libertarian in 2016. And so that gentleman retained his chairmanship, which is unfortunate. And you don't get another crack at him unless my reading of the bylaws is correct and I have some case that I can form against him, which I'm working on currently. He won't be able to be taken out of that seat until 2020.
Now, did you have a big problem with Gary Johnson? I know he was a little flaky, but for me it was Weld. That was the big problem, right?
Oh, I have a problem with both of them. I don't think Gary Johnson understands libertarian philosophy in the least. Giving that half-ass like, well, we're socially liberal and fiscally conservative. That's what we are. We're just a mix of the two parties. It's not the right way to present it. And then, his whole cake baking answer.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Oh, yes. I think it was Stossel had a debate with Johnson, McAfee, and Austin Peterson. And the question about forcing bakers to make cakes for people came up, and it was framed as, what if, I think it was Jewish bakers were asked by Nazis to bake them a cake. What, would you force that or not? And Johnson was like, well, yeah, they have to bake the Nazi cake. It's just gross.
Wow.
So
that's just that's where politician speak just creeps in, and politician attitude, where you think that that goes against libertarian philosophy, but what trumps that is political speak and political correctness.
And that's been creeping into the Libertarian Party. So I had heard some of this stuff just listening to the various podcasts that I listened to about how badly it's been infiltrated by social justice warrior types.
Okay.
So there are a bunch of different caucuses throughout. Like I was saying, there's the Mises Caucus. There's, I believe, something called like the Radical Caucus, the Pragmatist Caucus, Unity Caucus, the Audacious Caucus. And then my favorite, the Libertarian Socialists, that are known as the LibSocs.
Okay.
And according to this gentleman, they had brought signs that said full communism.
Wow.
That's what they're advocating for. Yeah. So that was allowed to go on, which I don't really understand. And to answer your question, yes, you can use Bitcoin.
Okay, thank you. I don't even know why I asked that question, because I have no Bitcoin. But I just figured that's the thing.
No.
Wow, that's amazing. And I was following a conversation on Twitter the other day, started by Jason Pye over at FreedomWorks. And he threw it out there, and I've been noticing this lately in some libertarian circles, in conversations on social media, how some libertarians are embracing universal basic income. And I can't jive it. I don't see how these two philosophies can mesh well. I mean, especially if you throw out there the idea that, okay, there's no way that UBI would be implemented and have the other welfare programs be taken away.
Correct.
That never happens. We'll never see that happen. It would just be thrown on top. It would be the cherry on top of the entitlement sundae.
Right. No, and it's still, you're still advocating for theft via taxation.
Right. So how can a libertarian be cool with that? I just don't understand it.
Well, I do think they've bought this hysteria that all these jobs are going to be replaced by computers or robots or whatever, and we're going to have a whole bunch of people that are just going to be chronically unemployed because there's nothing for them to do.
Yeah. And
that just tells me they haven't studied history well enough. This has happened over and over and over again.
Well, look, the news media presents it in a way that's terrifying. I just read a piece the other day about the automotive industry where they're speculating that within 15 to 20 years, there may be 75,000 auto jobs just slashed because we're moving toward electric vehicles. So if you're, if you're in an engine plant, you can kiss your job goodbye. Just from that. So I could see where, and the way it's presented, it's, oh my gosh, the sky is falling, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. But what jobs will be created based on the new technology?
Right.
We don't have that conversation.
No, well, you can't imagine all of them.
Right.
That's the problem. It takes imagination.
Imagination.
I know. But people also seem to be under the impression, so say, we were talking about the glut of truck drivers and how they need those. But when people freaked out about that a couple of years ago, I had to keep pointing out, how fast do you think they can make these trucks?
Yeah.
There's not going to be, boom, a million self-driving trucks on the road overnight.
Right.
It's just an impossibility. And the other thing they fail to account for is that a lot of those trucks will still have to have a human being in them, unless they're going to develop load and unload robots to pick up the freight.
Well, that's coming. It's just not tomorrow.
Potentially. But these things are going to happen gradually.
Right.
So there will be an adjustment period.
It's funny. had this conversation with my brother-in-law, he works for a small-time manufacturer. I shouldn't say small-time, but a small manufacturer. And he told me about the same trucking issues that you have talked about, where they would book someone and they don't even show up because they got a higher paying gig somewhere else, because truck drivers, there's a shortage of truck drivers, and they know they're in the position of power in that situation. It's crazy. So,
but it makes sense, right?
Yes, absolutely.
We would all do the same thing.
It's kind of shitty. If I have an agreement with you that I'm going to ship a load for, and I'll just throw numbers out there that are unrealistic, $1,000, and then someone comes along and says, I need this load shipped tomorrow. Are you busy? Well, yeah, I've got to deal with Tracy right now. I'm going to ship her load for $1,000. We'll give you $2,500.
Yeah.
Well, crap.
Right. Bye. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's how the market works.
So communists at the Libertarian National Party. That's convention. Right. That's fantastic.
And when you join, at least the Pennsylvania party, you have to agree to this pledge that says, I hereby certify that I do not believe in or advocate the initiation of force or fraud as a means of achieving political or social goals. So I look at that and think, how did these commie kids sign this pledge? Do they have some magical way to get to full communism without the use of force or fraud?
They're really good talkers.
Well, I think they've perpetrated fraud already by claiming that they're libertarians,
right.
And then they're advocating force for sure. But I don't know if you've ever talked to what do we call them? A communist anarchist or an anarcho-communist?
No, I have not.
Oh, it's quite fascinating. That is the end goal of communism, if you follow your Marx well enough. The state just kind of withers away.
Right. Like that would ever happen.
Right. But then it's, okay, who then enforces your equality, right? Who makes sure that from each according to his ability to each according to his need happens?
You're asking too many questions.
Yeah.
It'll just happen. You just gotta, I was going to say you got to have faith, but that would be a bad choice.
Yeah, you can't have faith. No. Nope, that's illegal too.
Do you think they sit around a bar and that's their, but who would build my roads? That's their.
Right. Well, how do you force the people to build the roads?
Yeah.
Because that's what they're talking about. So right off the bat, I'm like, these people should not have been allowed to join the party. This caucus should not be allowed to exist. I think there's a good case to be made that you get rid of the chair that oversaw this nonsense.
Wow.
But that's just me. Wait till I join the party. And I was thinking about starting my own caucus called the Raucous Caucus.
You know, we could fund that with Scam Pack.
We could.
Saying. What would the Raucous Caucus stand for?
Oh, getting rid of the commies. Honestly, I think that's a good enough mission. And then you back the actual libertarians. You side with them and most votes. But otherwise, it's just every time the commies start talking, you just make a lot of noise. Air horns, noisemakers, those kind of things.
You got to get those
real mature stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Fight fire with fire. That's what I say. No, you've got remember those horns that they would blow during the World Cup like 8 years ago?
Vuvuzelas?
Yeah, you get those.
Mm-hmm. It's just mind-numbing to me. You would never go to a Democratic Socialists of America conference and find a whole bunch of libertarians in there.
Right.
We don't think like this, but the left infiltrates everything that they possibly can.
Sad.
It is. It's pathetic.
Well, you had a much more interesting break than I did. I just went to the casino. And I won money, which was nice.
Yeah?
Yeah, enough to pay off my room. I drank for free, I ate for free, and then I had enough money to come home and pay an exterminator.
Wow.
You want to know why I had to pay an exterminator?
I would assume because you had an infestation of some sort.
Exterminator may be a wrong word to use. Well, just say I had to pay a guy. I came home and I heard this squealing.
Oh.
In the backyard.
Okay.
And I looked on my little back porch, and there was a 3-week-old raccoon.
How did you know how old it was?
The guy told me.
Oh.
I just knew it was a small raccoon, and it was soaking wet, and it was cold. And then my deck is 3 feet away, and more screaming and wailing from animals.
Ugh.
Yeah, so I had to pay a guy. Come over, and he's the kind of guy that cleans up messes, Yep. So he had to tear apart the deck to get 3 more of these creatures out from beneath my deck. Yeah, so that was great. It's like, I got to take home a little bit of money from the casino. Oh, raccoons. There's no. I've told that story to other people, and I've heard, oh, well, did you feed them? Did you? I'm like, hell no, what? I didn't feed them. Apparently, Mom died, and I'm pretty sure Mom was down the road because there was a dead raccoon on the side of the road. And I live in a development with like 1,000 houses. And I'm not exaggerating. 1,000 houses are in this development. I'm in suburbia. And I'm noticing in the last couple of years, the wildlife is getting out of control. Raccoons, possum,
yeah,
chipmunks, moles. So apparently this mother raccoon died, and a guy came over and scooped him up and took care of it.
Nice.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that really blows my mind when it comes to these things with some people, because did you feed him? Why would you do that? Oh, please tell me he didn't kill him. Listen, that's you people are crazy. There was a piece a few weeks ago I read. I don't know if we talked about it on the show or not. Probably not. Same thing happened. A woman found a baby raccoon abandoned on her property. She took it into her garage, nursed it back to somewhat, not actually, breastfeeding it. You know what I mean? Fed it. And once the neighbors came over or found out about it, they had to see the baby raccoon. Oh, our neighbor Stacy has a baby raccoon. How cute. Let's go check it out. So they all check it out. And then at some point, Stacy, I'm just going with Stacy, Stacy decided, well, I can't do this anymore. So she found someone who would take the animal, and it was animal control. And animal control said, oh, by the way, Stacy, the raccoon is rabid. So now you and your 20 neighbors have to be treated for rabies.
Oof. That's not pleasant either, from my understanding.
No, they take like look, Fingers Malloy, the science boy here. I think they take like a 16-foot long rusty needle and they stick it in your stomach to treat you for rabies.
Times.
Yes, and then they have to treat you for tetanus because they put a rusty needle in your stomach. So no, it's terrible. Why would you even risk that? I got 2 kids. I don't want them in the backyard petting some baby raccoon. It's rabid. Feeding it. It's like that woman that was a Red Eye Robot. Sent us the clip of the woman trying to hand feed a shark.
Yeah, and then everybody's shocked that it bites her and rips her into the water with it.
People are insane.
Yeah. But I like that he sent that to me to scare me again. You people with your shark scare me. Although I don't know if you saw it, but I found my mother had sent me an alert. Like, your worst beach nightmare has come true. Mm-hmm. She said somebody got impaled with an umbrella.
Oh, God. Yeah,
and so I sent that to you. I mean, it's terrifying. People don't know to tip their umbrellas into the wind. So you don't want it to take off like a sail. So this happens any day that it's windy on the beach. I'm paranoid out of my mind because a lot of these things have heavy metal poles or wooden poles that they're stuck into, and I've seen them go flying. And some woman had one go right through her ankle.
Oh, my God.
Right?
Yeah, I didn't click on the story. I just saw the headline. I mean, because who has time to read stories anymore? You just read the headlines.
It was only like 3 paragraphs.
So it went through her ankle?
Yes. The headline was like impaled, and they weren't kidding.
Wow.
Yes. It's terrifying, but how do you control that?
Well,
You can't make sure that everybody knows what the hell they're doing with their umbrella.
We need a government agency out there patrolling the beaches, an umbrella, a TSA.
Clearly.
Make sure that everyone is using their umbrellas.
Weighted down with a sandbag or something like that.
Oh, I'm not supposed to tape this
Tether.
barbed wire to my umbrella? I'm not supposed to do that? Oh. The running chainsaw? If only we had a government agency that would patrol the beaches to make sure that no one gets hurt by flying umbrellas. Wow. They really should put directions on those things, Tracy. So
they probably come with them. I would imagine that that's a mandated thing. Everything else comes with directions of like, hey, don't eat this.
Well, during my vacation, I went to Biloxi, which I don't know if this is true, but I heard it has the largest man-made beach in the world, 26-mile stretch of man-made beach.
Wow.
In Biloxi, very nice white sand. And then the last night I was there in the south, I was in Destin, Florida, which I'm told they call down there the Redneck Riviera.
Okay.
And again, beautiful.
Was it appropriate? See a lot of redneck?
Well, I stayed at the casino way too long in Biloxi. So by the time I got on the road, I didn't get to Destin until almost 8 o'clock at night, which was a shame because we were right on the beach. And you would have loved the beach, white sand, beautiful white sand. And
yeah, it's still the Gulf of Mexico.
So you're saying that you would prefer New Jersey beaches to a beach on the Gulf of Mexico?
Probably, yeah.
Why is that?
Because I like ocean waves.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I don't remember the water being very choppy.
No, it's not. The Gulf is very calm.
And it has sea lice, too.
Yes.
You got to watch out for that. So apparently there's been a lot of news this week.
Wow, in the 2 weeks we've been gone, there's been a ton of stuff.
Wow. Well, where do you want to start?
Oh, you did a quick rundown. Trump went abroad. Mm-hmm. We had the whole NATO thing where we're supposed to be very upset that he dressed them down at that wonderful breakfast where it looks like nobody ate anything. They just had glasses of orange juice and empty plates.
Right.
And he gave Germany a bunch of shit for taking Russian natural gas.
He's been playing one country off of another.
Right. But this is that Putin's puppet is sitting there saying, hey, why are you giving him a ton of money?
Right.
And then we're paying to protect you from him. It's kind of a weird situation, no?
Well, you're not supposed to bring any of this up. He's being duped by everyone.
Right. If you fear Russia militarily to the point where the United States is expected to keep troops in Europe forever, then maybe you shouldn't be giving them a bunch of money that they can use to keep their military growing. I don't know. Seems pretty elementary to me, but
well,
what the heck do I know?
Do you think that all of this is just the whole thing? It's just a giant reality show, and none of this is actually. It's supposed to play like a reality show, but it's really all scripted. Like there are a couple of writers that are writing the whole thing, and you look at it out from the outside, you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Why would Germany be importing all this natural gas from Russia? But then the writers are behind the scenes, and everybody really just all gets along.
It very well could be. I just think this absurd stuff has been going on for so long, but everybody just went with it. And now you finally got somebody in there, in the person of Donald Trump, that says, what the hell is this? This doesn't make any sense. Sick of spending money to protect you people.
Oh, Tracy, he's not smart enough to ask these questions.
No, he's not. It's true.
I mean, he just fell into all that money.
Yep.
His dad gave it to him. All of it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't build up any of his wealth at all on his own.
No. And probably didn't have to deal with anybody who was dirty or backstabbing.
I mean, you'd think his last name was Kennedy.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
But it's quite amazing to watch. It's just simple things like, hey, that doesn't really make sense. Can you explain that to me?
Yeah. Did you watch the press conference? I've really
Which one?
The Putin Trump press conference.
I caught the last two questions.
I'm just to the point where I've completely divorced myself of almost all coverage of everything, except for when I'm doing, show prep for this show. So it's like, oh, I guess I should read stuff and try to stay current. But there's so much outrage every single fucking day. It's the volume level on all the cable news and on social media. It's 11.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep thinking to myself, okay, it's gotta burn out at some point, but it doesn't.
No.
So you watched
and if
it.
anything, it's going to escalate, I think.
Yeah.
I watched the last 2 minutes of it, I heard the last two questions, which were incredibly obnoxious and just made me think, like the guy from the AP, and then I can't remember who the last one was, but they both were trying to goad Trump into lashing out at Putin when he's standing right next to him, which is just an asinine thing to expect.
Yeah.
Right. And what got me, it got me thinking, we're told over and over again, right? Putin murders journalists all the time.
Yeah.
And yet by the same people that are now standing there and confronting him to his face. So it's like, I don't really believe that you guys believe your bullshit about him, because none of you are brave in the American press, like legitimately so.
Oh God, no.
So if you thought this evil tyrant man that goes around murdering journalists that piss him off actually did those things, you'd never in a million years stand up and ask these obnoxious questions.
I mean, there are a few exceptions. The journalists that actually go to war zones and stuff like that. But
you mean like Brian Williams?
Yeah, exactly. No, but they throw courage around.
Yeah.
Oh, this journalist is courageous. None of them are. The only way I would call to be truly courageous as a journalist in 2018, you would actually just report facts instead of trying to report narratives.
Yeah, there's only one person that I can think of that would maybe count as a former mainstreamer, and that's Cheryl Atkinson.
Yeah.
And she's still fighting to get all the information about them hacking into her stuff.
That would truly be courageous.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, standing up and saying, holy shit, that the FBI or the CIA or whoever the hell it is infiltrated my systems. And they're trying to intimidate me and spy on me.
And you would you would think that they would be harping on that day in and day out that one of their brothers or sisters in the journalism community had been treated that way, but it was under Obama, so we're just going to keep that quiet.
Right. Well, they still got the Trump administration's in charge of all these agencies now, and they're not handing over the information she's requested.
Yeah, that's despicable.
It is despicable. It's absolutely vile. But what can you expect?
Yeah. But no, I just didn't watch any of it. I mean, I just don't see the point in it. You really have to find a place like C-SPAN where you could just watch all of this unfiltered and make your own decision. You determine it, how things went on your own instead of trying to watch any kind of cable news and be bombarded with the propaganda.
No, well, this is the worst thing that ever happened.
Right?
I watched MSNBC the morning after, and they had the two brave reporters on that stood up there and questioned him. It's like, what good came of that?
Right.
If you don't want us to have a good relationship with them, another nuclear armed power, it makes sense to have us at each other's throats. I don't get it.
I don't
You
get
really
it
think
either.
that Trump is going to stand there and call him out to his face on a stage?
They've been watching too much WWE.
Right. But how does that play out, making him angry? I would imagine that behind closed doors there were some things said. Like, hey, knock this stuff off. Isn't that what Obama said to him?
Yeah.
Told him to cut it out. That's what it was.
But again, they're viewing him through the eyes of what a politician should be. He's a businessman.
Mm-hmm.
So behind closed doors, you say, cut the shit out. Publicly, you're like, he's a great guy.
Yeah, best guy ever.
Yeah, even though we all know he's scum.
Yeah.
That's the one thing it's interesting too, watching people on the right. There's a line that needs to be, it's a fine line that needs to be walked between saying, okay, yeah, you know what, the whole collusion thing is complete bullshit, and while the Russians meddled in our election, Hillary Clinton lost because Hillary Clinton was a shitty candidate and had nothing to do with Russia and any kind of collusion with the Trump campaign. It was because she was a shitty candidate. Between walking the line between saying all that and then making a leap, where some people are just, I'm not going to say that they love Putin, but they don't seem to want to criticize Putin, and Putin's a scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to do both. You should be able to say, okay, this whole narrative that's been crammed down our throats now for a year and a half is complete bullshit, but Putin is a scumbag.
Yes, they're not mutually exclusive. Both things can be simultaneously true.
Right.
But I just get super annoyed. So I'm watching MSNBC. I believe this all happened the day after. They had the two brave reporters on. And then they bring in John Brennan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the story keeps being on MSNBC. Oh, they're legitimizing Putin. He's a tyrant. He's an evil, maniacal killer and all this stuff. Let's bring John Brennan on to talk about how disgusting Putin is. I think to myself, if John Brennan was given the power that Putin has, he would behave exactly the same way that Putin does, if not worse. This is the man that, there's glowing articles, and I went back and looked them up from like 2012, 2013. He helped Obama go over that kill list once a week. Who are we going to kill with a drone today?
Yeah.
So lecture me about tyrants and murderers, and then have them on the morning news to talk to me about how Trump's a traitor for talking to Putin.
It's the whole thing. It's bizarro world to watch because
it is.
I mean, we've talked about this previously. Trump sometimes, I shouldn't say sometimes, a lot of times, it feels like he's ruled by his id. Mm-hmm. He just can't resist saying or tweeting things that maybe he shouldn't. And, of course, that endears him to a lot of his supporters. But when you're hoping that the president would maybe elevate his
but why?
behavior a little bit. But my point is, by saying this is, I look at that and I think to myself, he's no different than Hillary. He's no different than John McCain. It's just they're more polished than he is. Mm-hmm. Because they're politicians. They've been in the political system for decades. He's a businessman who just, something pops into his head. He thinks it's a good idea. He just throws it against the wall and hopes it sticks. But he's those Hillary Clinton, John McCain, Bill Clinton, Barack Obama. They're every bit as thin-skinned as Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I sit and watch all these people criticize, oh my gosh, he's the most thin-skinned, he's an egomaniac, I'm thinking, how long have you been watching politics? They're all like that. Except he can't help himself.
Right, we knew that.
Yeah.
He's very obvious about it.
So that's the criticism. I mean, don't throw at me that, oh my gosh, he's an egomaniac. He's only consumed with all things Donald Trump. Oh, the last guy, President Selfie Stick, wasn't the same way? Really? Okay.
Yeah, you mean to tell me there's anybody that wants to be in that position that isn't an egomaniac?
Oh, you have to be a sick bastard to want to be president of the United States.
Right, to think I should be in charge of everything.
I'm the guy.
Only me. I can heal the world. I can change the level of the oceans. Give me a break.
Well.
But then it also, he visited London,
mm-hmm.
and they had that adorable little balloon. It's another thing. I'm like, okay, literally Hitler is coming to your city, and what are you going to do? You're going to taunt him?
With a balloon. Yeah.
Right. Because that's what you would do if you really believed he was Hitler.
A lot of people don't remember. It didn't work well for the Polish.
No.
They put a giant balloon up at the border. It didn't stop Hitler.
No, he wasn't cowed into submission. There's a balloon of him with a diaper. Well,
They
it's also
have balloons?
American idiot. We should have thought of this. This would have been the perfect scam pack thing. Mm-hmm. Some American idiots are raising a bunch of money to have that balloon come visit America. It's like, why don't you just pay for your own balloon? They had raised a couple, I don't know, tens of thousands of dollars.
Why didn't we think of that?
I don't know.
Oh.
But it looks so small. I don't know if you actually saw it, but the way that it was depicted on their GoFundMe, it looked enormous. It looked like a blimp that flies over a stadium. And then you see the thing, and you're like, I could get one of those at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
And everybody's going nuts. Oh, this is going to show them. Like,
yeah,
please.
The caricature in their heads of Donald Trump versus the actual Donald Trump. It's amazing the gap between the two. I've seen pictures and videos of stuff like, during that whole baby parade, whatever the hell that was with the balloon. Two guys kissing and saying, "Oh, this will show Donald Trump. This will make him nervous." It's like, what?
Yeah, I think he's been to a bunch of gay weddings. I'm serious.
Yeah. I'm sure that he probably has, but they're like, oh, Republican. Well, obviously, he hates the gays.
Clearly.
Hates the blacks.
Mm-hmm.
In their heads. So it's like, oh, my gosh, if we could get two black guys kissing, that'll really make Donald Trump uncomfortable. Well, I really don't think it will, actually.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. Not even a little bit.
But it's amazing how that played out. And then to see that's what the resistance is.
Yes.
It looked like a cosplay parade with a giant Trump baby balloon in the middle of the street. It's like, this is the resistance. Okay. I'm sure he's quaking in his boots, kids.
Yeah, he's going to resign on Monday. Good work, kids.
Oh, wow.
No, I do think it's going to keep ratcheting up, though, Fingers, especially because I'm seeing all these stories kind of downplaying the blue wave.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a big write-up. I think it was the New York Times. Kind of saying, yeah, well, it might not come to pass the way we thought that it would.
It's going to be a huge meltdown if they don't take back the Senate.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there was a time when I actually thought that they may take the House and not the Senate. Now it looks like if they don't take either one, oh, the wailing will be even worse. I think on election night, because okay, you can say, oh well, we were blindsided by it was the Electoral College, but these things happen from time to time where we're shocked. Well, now we've had 2 years of Donald Trump, and people still went to the ballot.
Well, it'll be the Russians. Mm-hmm. They're meddling again.
Right.
Gerrymandering is always a favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is it was in the New York Times, written by Nate Cohn and Dominic Casterton on the 19th. It's a Democratic blue wave, ? Don't forget the Republicans' big hill. And by that, this is this tortured metaphor they're trying to make up, and they have little animations in it where it's like Republicans are moving to this higher ground where they can't be taken out by this wave. But they're saying that the Democrats only need 23 seats to take over. Mm-hmm. And in comparison, in 2006, Democrats picked up 31 seats. In 2010, Republicans picked up 63. But what's happened is that Republicans caucuses fled to higher ground. So they go through and they say, how safe is each district and all this. So there aren't that many Republicans that are in unsafe districts. I think I want to say that they had 9 or something that are in, lean blue seats. So that doesn't get you to your 23 seats that easily.
So where do they make it up? Kansas?
Right. Well, they're saying that there are 40 Republicans that are not seeking re-election, so this could be a way to get there.
And what's interesting about that, too, is a lot of these Republicans, when they made these announcements that they were not going to seek re-election, it was a time where, the president wasn't, not that his poll numbers are fantastic now, but everything seemed it was on shakier ground when it comes to the president and his support. Now that you've had one successful Supreme Court nominee become a Supreme Court justice, we're probably going to get another one here relatively quickly. Tax cuts. The economy is zooming right now. I wonder if some of these people who thought, oh, there's no way I'm going to win re-election. I got to get out now. I don't want to face my constituents, and I don't want to defend Donald Trump. It's going to be terrible. Oh, I wonder now if some of them are second guessing, their decisions to run for re-election.
Probably, but it's too late in most cases.
Sure.
Primaries are done unless they're going to run write-in campaigns, but I think it's even too late for that.
Yeah.
So those are the ones that are questionable, and I was right. There's only 9 Republicans who represent districts that tilt towards Democrats.
So it would really have to be a blue wave.
It really would.
Well, that's interesting.
But we'll see. I don't think they're going to pull it off. I really don't. Unless something really catastrophic happens between now and November.
Can you imagine? What if, just for fun here, let's just wildly speculate. What if the Republicans picked up seats in the Senate and in the House?
I do think that's entirely possible.
Instead of this big blue wave, you have Republicans pick up seats in both houses. It would be the media that night. It would be amazing to watch. Can you imagine? I mean,
it'll be just as good as 2016 election night.
Yeah.
Well, your state could flip, right? You have a Democrat senator up.
Yes. I haven't checked the poll numbers recently. I probably should.
But you've got Missouri in play, Indiana in play, Pennsylvania's in play, Florida's in play. There are a bunch of seats that could flip. This is not a good year for the Democrats.
No. That's what people have been speculating for some time is, the map. It's not a good map for Democrats.
Right. And if there's any justice in the world, Bob Menendez will lose his seat.
You think that's possible?
I don't know. Stranger things, dude. Remember Trump went into election day, 98% chance that he was going to lose?
Yeah.
It depends on who turns out to vote.
So what else do you want to talk about? We got some stories pulled up in our little doc.
I know we do. Should we talk about Super Socialist Storm Sandy? Our girl, she did win a second district.
Did she?
Yes. I thought I sent that to you. She won a second primary.
Good for her.
As a write-in.
Where?
In a district she wasn't even running in.
Boy, people love her.
Yeah, they really do.
And by people, I mean a very, 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 very small fraction of the electorate who just happened to show up that day. I mean, how many people voted in that other district where a write-in candidate could be able to pull a victory?
I didn't look that one up, but she won. So the seat that she won initially, where she upset Joe Crowley, was New York's 14th district, which spans portions of the Bronx and Queens. I'm reading from Slate. But she won the 15th district, in the Bronx, as a write-in candidate.
Well, Trump can't handle a girl from the Bronx.
No?
Maybe she should run there.
Well, that was the thing. I was interested to see if the Democrat Party would put a bunch of pressure on her to take the 15th district seat instead, so they could get their boy Joe Crowley back in.
Right.
And I did see the two of them were fighting on Twitter back and forth a little bit.
Really?
But then it died down. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I know the Clinton machine isn't there to steamroll people so much anymore.
Well, she's a gem.
She is.
She said some things.
Some really smart, insightful things.
Well, and for this, I will say this. We're going to play a clip here. And this can happen to anyone. I mean, it really could. If you've got it in your head, you know, that the whole red-blue thing. And if you're channeling your inner Nancy Pelosi, you could have a slip-up.
Yeah.
But so she was on, this is Bernie Sanders' Instagram account.
Okay.
And apparently they did. This is what I can't figure out. Okay, he tweeted this out. It was actually his Twitter account. It was a joint message from Bernie Sanders and Sandy. What's her name again?
Superstorm Sandy. Ocasio-Cortez.
Yes. Alexandria. Ocasio-Cortez. I'm not going to do the rolling of the tongue.
I know you can't. So
no, I can't. I'm a middle-aged white guy. So I just call her Sandy. So Sandy, they record this video, and what's fascinating to me is they didn't do a retake. They just uploaded this video. I mean, wouldn't you think if you make a mistake like the one I'm about to play, you wouldn't upload? Nobody caught this, apparently. Okay, listen. She's standing next to Bernie Sanders. Apparently, they are in Kansas to campaign for a gent who is running for Congress in Kansas's 3rd district. So here's our pal Sandy standing next to old white man Bernie Sanders.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're going to flip this seat red in November.
Better red than dead, right?
So, I mean, that could happen to anyone, right? I mean, okay, you're nervous, you're 28.
You spend a lot of time at the Democratic Socialist Alliance or whatever the hell they're called, where there's red everywhere.
Yeah, you know, so you're like, oh, red, blue, but again, they uploaded this video on his account. Nobody caught that.
Nope.
Sandy, hey, maybe you flip it blue. Flip it blue. Take 2.
It's the blue wave.
I'm just chilling in Cedar Rapids.
Has that been totally scrubbed from the internet?
I don't know if it has or not. And people don't start tweeting me saying Cedar Rapids is not in Kansas. I know it's Cedar Rapids is not in Kansas. But the whole video of a Hillary where it was like 12 takes. Before they uploaded the best take. How do you upload that for everyone to see? Unless someone is purposely
screwing with them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, someone doesn't like old Sandy. Oh, we got to embarrass Sandy. Not a big fan of hers. Who the hell does she think she is? She was pouring Long Island iced teas like 8 months ago. Now she's going to be in Congress.
Oh, hats off to her. She busted her ass for that.
Oh, I have no problem with it. That good for her. But someone that's been in the system, been a part of the Democratic machine for 25 years.
Who, Bernie?
No, I'm saying anyone that's who may be responsible for uploading that video. It's probably an intern, but if you are Bernie's social media person and you've been a part of the Democratic movement, and I understand he's not a Democrat, but still, maybe you're a little bit jealous that she's stealing some of your thunder.
Oh, she's stealing some of your donors.
There's that too.
That's what he's jealous about.
So she's the young, fresh face next to the, so many times you hear, we hate decisions being made by old white men. So, wow, there you go, the old white man sticking it to the new, young, fresh face of the Democratic Socialist movement. I'm disgusted. Tracy.
It's vile.
Hello, everybody. So excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're going to flip this seat red in November. Hello,
Stop.
everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Now, in a just world, this would make an excellent Saturday Night Live cold open.
Yeah. No.
But no, that won't happen. I'm looking at her. Look, she's cute. I'll give credit where credit's due. She's cute, and she's wearing a blue sleeveless dress. I think. I would love to know where that dress was made, and how much it cost.
China.
These are things I want to know, Tracy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll probably never find out.
No, you won't.
Bernie looks. I'm going to throw a compliment at Bernie. I'm looking at Bernie right now, behind Sandy.
Okay.
And he doesn't look like he's almost 80.
No.
Politician 80 is like normal person 62. Right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this woman's she's gonna be in Congress.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing.
Yep. And they'll interview her constantly.
Oh yeah. Well, listen, at some point you got to replace Maxine Waters as the go-to person over at AM Joy. Morning Joy. What is it?
Morning Joy. No, it's AM Joy.
Is it AM Joy?
Yeah.
I mean, because Maxine is, 3 years short of 100?
Yeah, but she's politician 100.
That's true. So if we do the math, well, let me take...
Holy God, yeah, she's going to be 80 on August 15th.
Wow. How long is she... Do you have her Wikipedia page up? How long has she been in Congress?
I do. Well, she's changed districts. So let me go to her wiki here. Let's see. She's been in Congress since 1991.
I mean, they just can't let go of that power. I mean, you're 80 years old.
And then before that, she was a member of the California State Assembly from 1976 to 1990.
Jesus Christ. The amount of the people in government that just cannot walk away. The number of people, it's staggering. McCain, has he been in Washington, D.C. in the last 9 months?
No.
With all that he's going through, Orrin Hatch, how old is he? He's like 107.
Yep.
And he kicked around the idea briefly of running for re-election.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, let it go. Don't you have a family? I mean, not your, well, I shouldn't say this because, my first thought that pops into my head is, well, his wife's probably gone because she's probably 100 too. But chances are, when you're a politician and you're 85, your wife could be 52.
Yeah, that's true. He is 84.
Yeah, 84.
Mm-hmm. Nope, his wife's still alive.
Is she old?
It doesn't say how old she is.
I mean, you look at Bob. Well, I wasn't saying, is she hot?
Yeah.
I mean,
she's gonna be single soon, right?
If Bob Dole hadn't have run for president of the United States and up and quit the Senate, he'd still be in the Senate. He's like 107. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They can't walk away. Don't you have grandkids? Don't you have great-great-great-grandkids you can play with? You're 100. Maxine Waters is going to be 80.
Yep.
You've been in government since 1971?
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell me that you don't have a couple of sweet pensions going on right now. And probably, at this age, probably collecting them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah, how does that work? Do you not get it until you retire?
Normally you wouldn't, but if you get to be a certain age, I know in the private sector, you could be collecting your pension while you're working. If you're 80 years old, you collect Social Security, your pension. It's crazy.
She can't give up the fight fingers.
That's true. Oh, exactly. Yeah. Did you use air quotes?
Mm-hmm.
Which is a good radio move, by the way. But you live in California. Now, you and I both know that California is turning into a shithole.
Yes.
But if you're mega rich,
it's beautiful.
It's a great place to live. Hell, if I had $50, $60 million, I'd pack up the truck and I'd move to San Diego tomorrow. Do not pass go. I just don't. There must be something going on that we don't know about. That we really don't know about. That we have an idea. Okay, it's really great. You're powerful and you can walk into any restaurant in D.C. and get a table and people will whisper at the restaurant as you're walking home. There's Maxine Waters. Pss, 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 pss. There's got to be something more to it than that. There has to be.
It's about the power. And the money.
Well, God bless her because, she's going to go from what a bartender makes in the Bronx or wherever the hell she was bartending to being able to walk away. She's gotten a lifetime appointment. She's like a Supreme Court justice now in that district.
Yep.
She can work there she could be in Congress for, we'll just say 20 years. Say 20.
Mm-hmm.
She won't even be 50. And she'll have a huge, huge bank account when it's all said and done.
Oh, enormous.
Has she got a book deal yet?
Oh, no. She'll get a book deal and a Netflix deal and all the deals.
Be a pop-up book.
And her starting salary now is $174,000.
Which, seasoned members of Congress bitch about. That's not enough money.
Yeah.
She'll be like, oh, man, I'm rolling in the dough.
Yeah.
I'm sure she'll give a large part of that to charity.
Sure. All of it,
yeah,
really.
Really.
But what she's doing is actually charity work, so she'll probably just keep it all. But I pulled up Wikipedia to see about the salaries, and they've got a nice little salary table here of the historical trends for members of Congress. Do you want to know what the salary was in 1789 for the first Congress?
They even get paid?
You wait for it.
Huh?
50 cents per diem they got. It jumped up big time in 1795 to $1 per diem for representatives and $7 per diem for senators.
You get a nice glass of hooch for 50 cents back then.
Yeah. It really spikes up. 1855, it jumps to $3,000 per year, which is the equivalent of $75,000 today.
It's amazing how much your pay goes up when you can vote for how much you get paid.
Right.
By other people's money that you're printing.
Yeah. Jesus. Well, it's amazing looking at stuff like this to see how much inflation there's been.
Yeah.
So like in 1991, the salary is $125,000, but it says that's worth $214,000 in today's dollars.
I wonder how often they update that.
What, the salaries?
No, how it in today's dollars.
Well, it's actually telling me in 2014 dollars.
Oh.
So Wikipedia is not on their game here.
Right? Isn't there some nerd in a basement somewhere that could be updating these numbers as we speak?
Yeah, you'd think. Yeah, if I arrange, and I can arrange this table, I can have it go highest to lowest in any one of the columns I have. So in 2014 dollars, the year that they got paid the most is actually 1969, when the salary was $42,000, because that would be worth $270,697 in 2014 dollars.
See, Tracy, they deserve a raise. Who are you to deny these people more money? They deserve it.
Yeah, please take more of mine to give yourselves a little more. But I would like to see the growth in staff size.
Yeah, that too.
My guess is in 1789, when they were getting 50 cents per diem, that first of all, they weren't there all year round. And second of all, they probably had one staffer, if that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Listen, whenever I would hear Hank Johnson speak, I would think to myself, that man needs a raise.
And speaking of, the other thing that happened while we were gone was Peter Strzok had his little day in front of Congress.
Oh, did you watch? I didn't watch any of it.
I C-SPAN. I had it on in the background when I was at work, and I was just tickled pink.
He's
at
a
the hysterics.
smug little bitch, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Yes, he really is. But
so what did you take out of it?
That hearing was hilarious. All these points of order. Hank Johnson is on that committee. That's what made me think of it.
Okay.
Oh, and my favorite part, Sheila Jackson Lee, also on that committee.
Mm-hmm.
There was a point in time when she got around to having her question session, and she's reading from a piece of paper. So this is prepared for her, of course. Thank you to the staffers who do that. I can't imagine working in her office. But anyway, she's reading from a paper. And now this is difficult for me to tell if it's written incorrectly on the paper or if she just translates this in her head. And she read the statement twice. So the word specifically was in the statement.
Oh, no.
So,
somebody
Mr.
should get fired
Strzok,
for that.
What did you specifically do when XYZ happened? And then, excuse me, could you repeat the question? Yes, what did you specifically... And I have a hard time believing that a staffer would write specifically. But... Nope. It's possible.
What did I ocean-like do? What are you asking me?
Nope. She's a highly respected member of Congress.
Wow.
Yeah, the antics during that were just amazing. Point of order, parliamentary question. Let's do XYZ. How dare you? Louis Gohmert did take it a little far when he threw in, the fact that Strzok was cheating on his wife. And did you have that smirk on your face when you lied to your wife about what was going on or something like this? And that's when they lost their minds. Oh, my God, how dare you? And then I don't know who it was. One of the members shouted, like, are you taking your meds? To Louis. But I love it that these people pretend that they're dignified and have manners.
Yeah.
Oh, this is against the rules of the House. Cannot stand.
Well, what cracks me up, once again, is people acting offended by that.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. My pearls. Where are my pearls? No, I didn't see any of it. I wasn't interested in it because he could say damn near anything, and there are going to be no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you'd say, "Oh yeah, I've hated Donald Trump for years.
Mm-hmm.
Anything I can do to bury him, that's my mindset was at the time. I'm going to do it."
Absolutely.
And they'd be like, "Oh, isn't that terrible?" And then Republicans would go on Fox News and blast him and then send out fundraising letters. And that's the end of it. So, I don't know.
Well, I think that's about everything, don't you?
Yeah, I guess. We done?
We is.
Remember, you can catch the Enough Already podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, YouTube, and BitChute. It's fun to say.
It is.
BitChute. So you can catch it there.
Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to be hopping on here, Senator Sanders' account, and we're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're going to flip this seat red in November.
None of them. None of them. None of them flinch, Tracy.
Mm-mm. That's because they're reds.
Bernie apparently didn't have his hearing aid on. Didn't hear a word she said. Was wondering why someone has a smartphone in his face. Because he's got a flip phone, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
And Brent Welder is just happy to be there. So, well, anyway. BitChute. That's where you can find us. Where did you find BitChute, Tracy? I'd never heard of BitChute before.
I found it a couple months ago when a bunch of people were yapping about YouTube shutting them down potentially, and that they had found an alternative platform for when that eventually does happen.
Yeah, because at one point you were seeing, YouTube was pulling accounts down of gun enthusiasts, anybody shooting guns and stuff, and they were they moved to YouPorn. Or Pornhub, I can't remember which one was one of the porn sites. Well, they won't pull us down for shooting guns on video. Well, they could go to BitChute, apparently.
It's true.
There you go. We'll check us out on BitChute. Final thoughts?
Nope.
That
I got
sounded like
nothing else.
took a toke of something.
I'm just hitting my e-cig.
All right. She's Tracy. I'm Fingers. We'll be back next week. Thanks for listening. This has been enough already. I know I was